Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space and a real-time video. I mentioned the last one I did. I don't do these types of videos very often where I talk you through it, film it in real time. Most of my videos are edited down, voiced over, etc. But with what I'm planning to make, I thought it was time for another real-time video. So I'm going to make a shaker card. Another thing I don't do very often, but I'm on a shaker card kick. Who'd have thunk? So I'm going to use one of the newer little mini delight sets from Altenew. I love these little mini delight sets. They're just like a little mini stamp set with a coordinating die set. A lot of times the die set is like, it's not like an outline die or anything. Like, it's an actual like little standalone die set. And I love them. I love them. So that's what I'm going to use. And we're going to make a shaker card. So let's switch the, oh, and before I get to that, because like I don't do these types of videos very often. So my brain's like, I don't know what's happening. I have links to everything I'm using in the description box below the video. So you can just expand the description box. My supply list will be listed there. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps pay the bills, keeps the channel going, all the things. So now let's switch down. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to turn my face off because you guys don't need to stare at my face the whole time. There we go. Okay, so this is the Regal frame silhouette set. Super cute. And then there's the little coordinating die set that die cuts this little frame, which I did right before I started filming. And we've got the frame. I really like this like piercing detail. It's kind of like dots and dashes. That's really fun. So we've got that. And then there's these two little dies that do some little florals and leaves. So those I'm going to set aside in a second here once I get a little bit of space back on my desk, because we will add color to these. I just die cut these from white cardstock. The frame I die cut from Volcano Lake cardstock from Altenew. And I think I'm going to keep the little inner pieces for now. I'm not sure yet if I want to use them. I might just kind of keep the outlines because that's kind of a fun look. So we've got that and my frame, and then the last little greenery bits. There we go. Okay, so we've got those. And then what I want to do is I have a panel of white cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I wanted it slightly smaller than an A2 card front. And so then I'm going to have my frame, and then I thought I would stamp this gorgeous floral image, probably like that. So let me kind of get some things out of the way so I can get my stamp wheel. Okay, so I need a bigger boat. What else is new? Okay, we're gonna just line this up, and then the stamp, I'm going to figure out exactly how I want it. Kind of like it like that. So it'll be kind of peeking out around the frame, just like that. And then this, we're going to stamp in a lighter shade. Instead of Volcano Lake, I'm going to use Mountain Mist, which is just a shade lighter. So we're going to ink this up. With that color. And then stamp this onto the cardstock. Oh, love it. And this has a bunch of like detail to it as well. It's not solid. It's got all this like etching sort of detail. That's really pretty. It's really pretty. Okay, we've got that. And then where is my card base? Like I told you guys, I need a bigger boat. Okay. I also have my card base. So this is going to go on the front of the card. But, okay, you guys know, I like to... I'm going to have to reposition this. Let me quickly wipe it off so I don't get ink everywhere. If I was using like a solid like black ink, I'd probably just use a piece of acetate to protect my card base and then move the stamp because it would take a little bit more cleaning. But this is such a light ink, it's easy to quickly clean off. So I'm going to take the piece there out of my stamp wheel, arrange my card base, and then I'm going to put the floral here. Just like that. So the inside has a little something something. Don't need to worry about that moving. We can just put it right back into place. And then I can ink this up again with that same Mountain Mist color. So ink that up. And then stamp that onto the inside. Love it. Again, quickly wipe this off. So we've got that so far. And then what I want to do is, let's line this guy up again. I was thinking about the sentiment because we're going to have that and then we're going to have our frame. I was wondering if I should just stamp it like right. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's keep our frame. And then the sentiment, let's line this up just kind of like that. I just want to make sure I've got everything straight. Looks like it. Okay. So we've got the sentiment in place. This I'm going to ink up with Altenew's. Oh, where did it go? There it is. My Obsidian pigment ink. Just light little tappy tap. Okay. So love it. Love it. Okay, so we got our little sentiment. Again, take it off, put it with the packaging so I don't lose it. Take that off of there. So we've got that. We've got this. Now we need to actually make this into a shaker. So I need a piece of acetate. So I've got a piece here. In fact, I'll pull the tissue paper out too. That just kind of backs it so it's a little easier to see. There we go. So I have the frame. We need a piece of acetate. So all I'm going to do is line up the die on the acetate. There it is. Sharpie marker. I'm going to quickly trace around the outside edge of this frame. Doesn't need to be perfect. There we go. So then all I have to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut inside the edge of this so that I don't have any acetate sneaking out past the edge of the frame. Because if I was to cut like right on the line or outside the line, as you can see, there's the die cut frame. If I cut right on the line, that acetate is going to stick out past the whole thing. So this, having the frame die cut first, it gives me kind of a clue. It's like, okay, as long as I cut right about... about that far in. So about an eighth of an inch. I don't actually measure it. Just I eyeball this. You know, we'll cut it. I'll hold it up and see if there's any more little bits that I need to trim out. But this at least kind of gives me a starting point. So I can just go along. You also don't need the tissue paper like to do this. It doesn't need to be here. I'm only doing that just so you guys can kind of see better what I'm doing instead of holding up something clear and hoping you guys can see it on camera. And it helps me too, because honestly, the older I get, the worse my eyesight gets. So we're just going to go along. And then for the curved bit, same thing. Just cut like roughly an eighth of an inch. There we go. I'll save the other pieces for later. And now I just need to hold this to my little frame. See where we're at. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay. So now I need to adhere this to the cardstock. You can use different products. There's all sorts of things that will work. I prefer a strong adhesive when it comes to adhering acetate to cardstock. You can use liquid glue. However, it does take a really long time to dry, and I don't find that liquid adhesive holds very well. So I've got some Altenew tape here, like double-sided adhesive. Will this work? It can work, but honestly, it's just like the same width, and my hands are not steady enough anymore. So they don't have an 8 because this was Altenew's Ultra Sticky 1/4 of an inch, and this frame is like exactly 1/4 of an inch. So if they hadn't, I'm not sure if Altenew has an 1/8 of an inch. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. So instead I'll just use some red line adhesive, which is not my favorite to work with either. Because red line adhesive can be a little bit of annoying, like a little annoyance. But this is a trick I showed in a previous shaker card video. Piece of paper towel. So I'm going to take the red line adhesive and I'm going to put it along the back of this frame. Don't need that anymore. And then do it again. Trim off the excess. One more time here. Okay. And then for this portion, because this piece is on a curve, I could try curving the tape because it's not a super heavy curve, but honestly, it's kind of just easier to do 3 separate pieces. Nothing too crazy. So we'll line that up, cut those little pieces. Okay, so I've got my adhesive in place. Press that down really, really well. And then some of these spots that are overlapping, obviously the adhesive's not going to cling. So the paper towel trick is just to grab the red line backing. Because if you've ever worked with it, it likes to stick to your hands. It's annoying. It's annoying. But for whatever reason, the paper towel grabs it off of your fingers. And love it. Love it. I used to hate working with red line adhesive and would go out of my way to avoid it. But the paper towel trick, whoever it was that told me about that eons ago, genius. Genius. So we take all that out. And then get these other little ones. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So all the adhesive is now exposed. We just need to... Ooh, careful. It's cardstock. See what I mean? I didn't, well, you guys probably can't see it, but I didn't align it like perfectly straight. So there's a tiny little piece hanging over the edge here, but I can just slip my scissors in between the cardstock and the adhesive and just cut off that little sliver that was hanging over. And there's like just a smidge right there. Same thing, just trim it off because no one's going to see that part. So there we've got our window. Really easy. And now it's adhered. So with that, we need to do the foam adhesive. So I've got Altenew's. This is the Instant Dimension foam tape. This is the 1/4 inch width, 1/8 inch, 1/8 of an inch thickness. So this is perfect for shakers because it's thick. Now, because this is 1/4 inch, again, can I do this? I kind of honestly, I'm going to trim this in half, like, so it's more like 1/8 of an inch. Just to avoid me, like I was saying a minute ago, like my hands are not as steady applying things as evenly. So just by trimming it, I have a little more leeway, you know, to give me just that little extra bit. And if you take the backing off, you can curve foam tape. So I can apply it, give it a little bit of a curve. There we go. And then let's do that a couple more times. Let's just cut that in half. And again, okay. And then you want to butt your foam tape right up against the next piece so that you don't have gaps in between the pieces, because you do not want, you know, depending on your shaker bits of choice, you do not want them like, you know, you give the card to the recipient and then everything falls out. Unless it's that sort of card, you know, you want it to get all over them. I'm sure there's occasions for that. Okay. So butt up those edges. Add that little bit of foam. And then I just need like one more piece here. So cut that in half. Stick one there. And then I'm just gonna kind of hold this. Go like that. Okay. So now I've got all my foam tape on here so we can, you know, make our little shaker bits. And I'm going to take all the backing off just to save myself the aggravation. Just like so. And the backing for this also clings to the paper towel, which is so convenient. And then all I do is I take the paper towel. I don't waste the paper towel. I just take it and I hold it over my garbage and the pieces fall off. There we go. So my paper towel is good to go. I can save that for like a future project, whatever. And then for the shaker bits, Altenew released, oh, they're so pretty. The Stellar Sequins, like these packages are enormous. Like enormous. So there's clear iridescent, twinkling pink, peony gold, sparkling gold, champagne, and then dazzling diamond, which is what I'm using. That's why I have it like off the packaging already. just like so. But I get like it's a lot. You get a lot. So much. And all sizes. Like, does it say on here? 6 sizes. Oh, here we go. Yeah. 6 sizes from 2mm teeny ones all the way up to 8mm. I love having the variety. So I'm going to use like the tiniest one. And I'm just going to like spoon some of this onto the center here. I'm going to use those. I'll add some of the medium size. This is like the 4mm. I skipped the 3. So I'm just going to add a few of the 4mm just to give it a little extra something. So we'll add a bit of that. And you know what? I'll even add just a smidge of the, I think this is like 6mm. Just a few. Okay. So we've got all these bits. I'm kind of flattening everything out and like spreading it out a bit so I don't have like a clump right in the middle because I'm going to put this over it. So we have that. I'm going to add a few more of the teeny ones. Because I want this like to have a good shakety shake. Okay. I'm happy with that. So we've got that lined up. The foam tape's off the back of this. We're just going to center everything. Just like so. Yes. And commit. And then press it down. I love it. And honestly, we could leave it like this if you want more just clean and simple. Like we've got the floral, the frame, the shaker. Like just stick this to the card base. You know? Clean and simple. But I really want to use these little die cut bits. So let's stick them to a grip mat. My beautifully stained little grip mat. And let's take the little floral bits here. Doop, doop, doop. Those. You know what? I'm not going to use the centers. We got our little leaves. And this other little greenery bit. Cute. Cute. Okay. So I'm going to use some Limeade ink for that greenery bit. So we use some Limeade ink, little light ink or light green little blending brush, and we'll just quickly blend that onto these. Quick, love it. So we got Limeade. I'm even going to add a bit of this Mountain Mist. Just add it to the greenery. It just gives it a little extra. And the two of them together make a pretty like green combo. Why not? Why not? And then I'll use the Mountain Mist on that greenery piece. And then I'll switch to the Volcano Lake for this other one. And I'll even add a little bit to that one. Just adorbs. So adorbs. So we got those. And then I pulled out Citrus Burst. So very, very light, bright yellow. We'll add that to a couple of these flowers. We'll do the Citrus Burst. And then I'm going to use Pink Diamond and Blush Rose for the remaining 2 flowers. I just thought these would kind of pop really nicely amongst all of the like aqua color we have going on here. That's kind of the bulk of this. So just like so. There we go. So we got that. And then all we got to do is get these off the grip mat. Just like so. And then we just need to arrange these onto the frame. I just will do kind of like a little, some sort of little cluster maybe. Under there, or do I want to do it here? I think I kind of want to do it more on this side. So, trying not to overthink, which is the story of my life. I just got to unclog my glue. So we're going to take the little stem and put some liquid glue just down the center of it. And then the stem, I can kind of go like that. And then what I can do is I'm going to adhere little greenery bits. Now, just like I said with, I do have a big clog in my glue. Just like I said with adhering the frame, like adhering things even on top, I'm going to make sure the glue is touching like cardstock. So I've got glue on the, here, touching the cardstock. And then I put glue on the base of the leaf, so it's also touching cardstock. Because again, glue on the frame or on the acetate just doesn't usually want to hold. I'm also going to need just a few little pieces of foam tape. So I'm just going to snip just a tiny little sliver, because I'm going to need that to strengthen. Set that next to the scissors. So I want to put one like maybe right there. So I'm going to need a piece of foam tape on the back of that, because it's going to hang over the frame. Yep. So that way I can add a little bit of glue, teeny bit of foam tape. Let's do that one like that. There we go. And then I'll add another little bit to that one. And then let's get a little visual here. I kind of do want to add the centers back in, I think, with these little flowers. Just to give them, you could leave them, like I said, you could leave them as is, because I think it's kind of cute, but I don't want to layer them up and then have these like gaps. I want them as actual little flower centers. So I need to grab, I'll use citronella as my centers. So let's just quickly stick these little itty bitty pieces to the sheet. And then I'll take the citronella color. There we go. Quick and easy. Pop these back onto my work surface. And then to adhere them, I just take pieces with stuff like this. I just take a little piece of washi tape. It doesn't even have to cover the entire back, but just enough. And then I can add a little bit of glue too, just to give it that little extra like stability. And then that little die cut piece just fits in just like that. Like super, super simple. And yeah, another tiny little piece of washi tape. A tiny dab of glue. This one's that. There we go. And then I'll do the same thing to these last two little pieces. That washi tape's a little bit too big. So I can just trim that off. And then add in a little dab of glue. Pop that into place. I can use that tiny little sliver, but I'll add one more just to make sure. There we go. And then the teeniest little dot of glue there. And press that final one into place. Oh yeah. Yeah, that just finishes it off for me. I like that. Okay, so now with my flowers, I can like make sure I just have the glue in place, and then I can kind of go like this. And even while the glue hasn't set yet, I can lift it up and tuck in that little piece. Love it. And then that one, I will also add a little bit of adhesive. Kind of tuck him in there like so. And then that one, I will need a foam square or just a little strip of foam adhesive. Just like that. Stick him like that. And then we've got that one and that one. And it just creates like a little cluster. Okay, so all I need to do here then is add some liquid glue. And then that one I will just pop up with just a thin foam square from my stash. There we go. Let's just pop a little thin foam square into place. Oop. There we go. There we go. Love that. Okay. So then all we've got to do, I'm not going to stamp anything else. Like I'm going to keep the inside of the card just simple. And I'm going to just adhere this panel to the card base. Like so. So just, again, simple. So some liquid glue. And I'm not going to add any splatter. I know. Sometimes some projects just don't need it. And while I love my splatter, I'm okay. I'll make up for it probably on the next card and add like 5 types of splatter. You guys know. So, adhere that into place. And there we've got a very like clean and simple shaker card. Like, so fun. So fun. Love it. So yeah, and then the color carried on the inside with that little stamp. So there's my card. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This was all filmed. I'm just realizing this now. This entire thing was filmed in one take. Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? Don't expect this. I think this was just, oh, definitely a one-off. So, yeah, love that. I'll have the photos and stuff at the end here, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'll have links to everything in the description box below. And yeah, thumbs upping and commenting, it helps a ton. I very much appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!